Good morning. Good morning. Happy Saturday. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So it's funny because so my wife is giving birth to our daughter Monday, and so her mother came over to help, pack up the bags, kind of do, the girl stuff for preparation, and not girl stuff, but just mom and daughter type stuff, right? And so she walks in and she's like, why are you so energetic? Like you're bouncing off the walls. I was like, I've been up since 5 a.m. This is like, I'm ready for lunch. And it's just little moments like that are total rhino moments where normal people in the world look at you at like 10 a.m. and they don't understand. How much coffee did you have? I'm like, none. I love life. I love Rhino. Rhino, you know, thinking about Rhino energizes me all day. So I went to, so my wife actually had set me up with a Reiki session yesterday because the challenge in our household is, Anne, you're nonstop, right? Like you need to come down at some point. I get Rhino, but you're constantly on go. That's all you think about. It's all you talk about. So I went to the Reiki session, which was cool. So I lay there and you put your arms over your chest and the specialist, the therapist, does their thing over you. And afterwards, she goes, you're doing something, and I've never heard a therapist curse. You're doing something amazing. She goes, what you're doing is amazing. Now, mind you, she has no idea what I'm doing, and it wasn't a conversation. I was taking in everything she was saying. Hey, hi, everyone. And she had shared some, these are the things you need to get better at in terms of kind of opening up a little bit more and accepting gratitude a little bit more, having gratitude a little more. But her biggest advice was stay the course, just keep going. But the point, I guess, of it was that she said, your wife is your rock. She's your anchor. Without her, you would fly into outer space because you're the most creative person I think I've ever met. Now, mind you, she did all this by just my energy. So I'm really, really excited to go back. I think I might do it once a week because I actually felt a better version of me, which I'm accountable to Rhino to always provide the best version. So I did want to share that because amongst the many things that we talk about, they all have the same theme. How are we improving? And to go ahead and share that there is an improvement that we've identified that actually is like thinking, that's huge. Because anytime you think, everything comes of that. So, super exciting, super fun. If anyone looked at the numbers this morning, they probably know that I wasn't thrilled, but it's because I'm like a total mental case. Every number was up thousands of dollars, and now the new average is 28 per person. That's much higher than we want. We want it at 25, right? Which means we have to be continuing our efforts to grow our base. Now, the reason why the base hasn't been growing the last couple of days is because our emails are completely focused on one thing. It's our regional vice president team that we're hiring. Now, once that team is hired, the base is super focused, right? Because when we hire 100 regional vice presidents, and each one of those regional vice presidents is dictating and communicating to us in my region, this is the best way we can grow. Can we offer this to people? Can we do this for people? Because if we could do this for the people in my region, they would be very excited to participate. When we start collecting that information from 100 different regional vice presidents from 100 different regions across the globe, now we have something, right? Like McDonald's in China doesn't sell the same things as McDonald's in New York City. Why? Because there's different people they have to go ahead and cater to. There's different people that have different taste. So the things in China that they sell, which I have no idea, and if I start guessing, it probably sounds offensive. So I'm not, because I'm thinking like bat sandwiches, which again, if it did sound offensive, I'm sorry. But I'm just thinking the things that are eaten over there are different than in New York City, where maybe if you did a rat sandwich, they would eat it. See, now I'm an equal offender, right? Like I'm from New York, so please take it to be balanced. But maybe our regional vice president from India will tell us, and the things that our region cares about is immediate cash flow. If we were somehow able to do this, this, and this, then they would sign up in droves. Well, at that point, I would say, well, that's a good idea. That information's really good. All right, let me see what we can do. Now we're expanding there, and the expansion is allowing people to be excited because we're doing what they are asking us to do, and now they're sharing with others because they're partners with us, right? See, a partner isn't just something on paper. In fact, paper is the last thing you're a partner on. For instance, if I said to Abdul, right? If I said to Abdul, listen, in your area, what is something that the people really, really like? And he goes, Ant, in my area, people love sunflower seeds. And I said, okay, I'm going to support you with the infinite amount of sunflower seeds. Will that be helpful? And he goes, Anthony, that'll be helpful. So I go ahead and support Abdul with infinite amount of sunflower seeds. Now Abdul, without realizing it, has accepted a level of pressure. Because now if he's not successful, he now looks a little silly because he had given me advice. He looks a little like the shorter end of the partnership because I did what he said to do, and now he's unable to deliver what he said he was going to be able to do. And the only way he can deliver is commensurate with how much we supported him, right? So if we gave him 1 million pounds of sunflower seeds, Abdul cannot sell 1 million pounds of sunflower seeds by himself, which means he's now talking to other people saying, hey, you guys all told me you wanted sunflower seeds. I have 1 million. Can we all, get to work? Because now I'm looking foolish because I stuck my neck out there. That's a partner. As you can see, we did not even use the word partner. I did not sign Abdul up as a partner, but in that type of conversation, it's called reciprocity and public obligation. The point is, in knowing behavioral science does not give you the license to weaponize it, but it certainly gives you the permission to identify it, right? So when we go ahead and build out each one of these regional vice presidents, it's not that we're going to say, haha, we cracked the code. No, but we know what the code is. So I'm going to do whatever it takes to support you fully, but we're also going to only hire those that are passionate enough that we know that they can uphold the end of the bargain that they don't even know is coming down the pipe yet. So when we go ahead and hire a regional vice president and we say, what is it that would make you successful? What is it that you need? What is the thing that you're best at? And say Bill says, Anthony, in my region, this is what they're most receptive to, this is what they're most concerned with. This is how I can help them. I'm not really good at A, B, and C, but when it comes to D, I'm really great at it. But unfortunately, being really great at, and it might be something minimal, like, being really great at talking to people in passing does not ever really get me a job. When I talk to my neighbors, they love me, but I don't get out enough and I'm uncomfortable talking to strangers. But that's what I'm really good at. Well, now it's my job to go ahead and say, okay, this is Bill's superpower. This is what his neighborhood and what his region is receptive to. How do I take that information while knowing Bill has been hired based on his passion? He is one of the most, he loves RHINO. Give me these variables. How do I go ahead and create a Bill to be in the best position for success? That's my job, right? Like I've always told all of my team members my entire career, there is no such thing as a bad student or a bad employee. It doesn't exist. Only bad teachers and bad bosses. Because if you have somebody that believes in you and is buying into your vision, and they are passionate enough that they are going to go ahead in an ethical and moral way of completing or trying to complete the task you assign them, their success isn't their success. Their success is how you put them in position for the success. They attained it, right? Like that's what employees are. They're individuals that are highly passionate about a particular thing that maybe lack a certain vision or lack a certain risk tolerance to go out there and do it themselves, but they do identify in you that by being part of your team, they could go ahead and achieve that goal in a proportional way to you. And that is okay with them. That's what an employee is. So if you say, oh my God, the employees here are terrible, what you're really saying is you're just the worst boss ever. So I will never say, oh my God, our regional vice presidents are terrible. Oh my God, that was such a bad idea. No, the idea is good. If we can go ahead and identify passionate people across the globe that are sharing information with us, sharing data with us that what would win their region, that's amazing. Duh, that's a good goal. Now, the challenge is from my behalf, how do I empower? How do I go ahead and empower that individual to be successful? That's what we're going to be doing starting next week. So, as everybody has seen in the email, Share RHINO is the way to apply. And it's not it's a dual efforted application, right? Because I'm going to know right away who's passionate. Because we have done Share RHINO programs before. And some people have said to me, Anthony, I've kind of shared it with everyone I could. I appreciate that. I really do. But unfortunately, it's not in RHINO's DNA to ever accept, I don't want to say an excuse, right? I feel like that's mean spirited. But in RHINO's DNA, in RHINO's everyday, there are 1 million things that go wrong or that I'm told we cannot do. And I can promise you, when I'm told we can't do something, that's where the conversation begins, not where it ends. Okay, we can't do that, but what if we could do this? Well, if we can't do that, what if we do this and add it to this, right? So the point is, I'm sure that there's many people that have went ahead and invited all the easy people, right? Like the people that are close to them. But what about going through your personal email? And I did this on Yahoo. I did this personally. You go to Yahoo and you sort the emails by oldest first, and you just scroll through them and you say, oh my God, I haven't spoken to that guy in 5 years. Let me reintroduce myself. Oh my God, I went to school with that girl. Oh my God, that was my former boss. Oh my God, this is an email chain that CC'd everyone from our office because our boss didn't know to blind CC them. So I have every single colleague I ever worked with's email. Now, can I go ahead and email each one of them and say, hey, I used to work with you at ABC company. Remember we had that conversation once. I found something that I think will really be interesting to you. Please check it out. Is that a good email? Is that a good Share RHINO? I think it's a phenomenal one. Is it one that you had to think a little bit further than something that's easy? Yes. Is it one that could have easily been dismissed as, yeah, I already sent all the ones I have, period? Yeah. So if there's a will, there's always a way. That's the point. And A, that might sound a bit harsh, but B, remember that you're part of a company where the steward of it believes that. And if you were part of a company where the steward of it said, yeah, when things get too hard, I just give up, would that really be a good company to be a part of? No. So if it rubbed anyone the wrong way, also let it rub you the right way, because that's who's leading this. So the RVPs will be employees. No, they'll be team members. I don't call anyone an employee ever. We're all team members. We have a team. Everyone's a member. The RVPs will be compensated from RHINO, but the compensation is RHINO, right? So it's I guess by all intents and purposes, it's part owners really, because the ownership of RHINO is in RHINO, and to be compensated in RHINO and the value of RHINO being dependent on your performance, it's a good program. So getting back to the program, sharing RHINO allows you to stand out as being passionate. Okay, I shared RHINO with 25 people. Surely that's going to land me in the top 100. I thought you were saying employees. No, Robert, I was making an example of I don't believe there's such a thing as a bad employee, just bad bosses. But I guess that could go to RHINO. I don't believe there's such a thing as bad team members, just a bad team leader, right? What was I going to say? So just Nike, right? Just do it. But I do want to share a little bit more color to what that's going to look like. So when I have the conversations of what everyone's good at, I am going to kind of try to organize it into certain categories, right? Like who's good at cold calling, who's good at emailing, who's good at person to person, who's good at going door to door, who's good at social media marketing, who's good at network marketing, who's part of a career that your business was commission based, meaning you have a very, very strong clientele list that you've kept in touch with. whose business is blah, blah, blah. So maybe we'll come up with 10. And for each one of those, RHINO is going to go ahead and draw out a map of what that position looks like. All right, if you're really good at social media marketing, we are going to go ahead and provide you with this, and this, all asset based, like this funnel or whatever, that's going to allow you to be the best at your position. And you're going to tell us what it is that your people or your region is looking for, and we're going to tailor it to that. Because we're all going to be in the same Slack channel, this isn't one of those, all right, I'm going to email you and maybe you email me back and blah. No, we're all part of the same team. You have to be accountable, right? My team is on Slack 24/7. And even though the job description doesn't say 24/7, I can promise you, I feel quite comfortable to Slack anyone at 2 in the morning. And if they don't get back to me till 5 in the morning, they get back to me and say, sorry, I was sleeping. And I always say, no, don't be sorry. I didn't expect you to get back to me till 10, which is a total lie, right? Like they know I expected them to get back to me. But what's the other half of that? We're literally reinventing the future. We're building the future. We are building a structure that transfers the wealth from the 1% to the 99%, and in doing so, force fields that wealth within local communities so that the 1% can't take it back. That's actually what we're doing. All right, so let me go. I'm 6 minutes over. Michael, I am going to give you a call once this ends because we have a 10 o'clock call, but Mike messaged me yesterday. He goes, no, I know it's after the live, and he's on it to his credit. But I do want to say, Monday, our daughter's being born, and my wife says, I cannot work that day because, obvious reasons, which to me was like, all right, I could totally have the computer in the emergency room, in the operation room. And she was, she knows me well enough to say, well, they don't have Wi-Fi. Not, Anthony, are you out of your mind? Like, stop. So our live Monday will be canceled, right? And Tuesday will be our next interaction together. Of course, I will send the email Sunday, and of course, I'll send the email Monday. Well, can I send the email Monday? I will send an email Monday. I'll just schedule it the day before, so the numbers might not be as accurate as they would be at 9 a.m. exactly, but you'll get a good sense. And then Tuesday, we'll be back, hire our 100 regional vice presidents, and all next week is going to be all of us collabing together to build out our processes for the following week to launch. Now, last point, in the real world, this process takes months. In RHINO world, it's taking 2 weeks. So the one thing I want to say is it's easy at times to dismiss something because of the time put in, right? Like if you go on a date with someone and you go on one date and you sleep together for one date, you break up the next week, you're like, but we did this, but there was no value to it, right? Like you did it on the first date. It wasn't something you built up to because you knew their family, you knew them, you knew their hopes and dreams. There is an amount of time that you have to put into something for it to be valuable. So I want to go ahead and address that for a moment. Just because it's taking us 2 weeks to do something does not mean that it's not valuable. It goes to the credit and the efficiency and the pace of what RHINO's looking to do. RHINO, we have our window and it's right now. So we're going to move accordingly because we are completely accountable to everyone in RHINO. And I know it might feel more comfortable to someone if this took 2 months, because then you're like, oh yeah, we've been building this process for 2 months. I just don't move at that speed. Like we're gonna move faster. So let's do it. Let's get excited. If you haven't gone ahead to share RHINO, this is your last weekend to do it. I can promise you, and this isn't, you're going to regret it, but you will. We're opening employment to RHINO. Like you're going to be a team member. You're going to be an executive. You're going to be a vice president of RHINO. I just think that's a really big opportunity. I know if I was on the other side of this, I would be like sharing with my mother times 10 right now. I'd be sharing with my mother, every mother that she knows, because I can promise you, if I sent an email to my mother's friends, they'd be like, oh my God, that's that cute little boy. That's Lorraine's son. They wouldn't spam me. They'd be like, I haven't ever spoken to you, but you're Lorraine's son. So So anyway, I gotta go. Absolutely love you. I'm 10 minutes over. Bye, everyone.